My name's Ethan Cole, and I've been driving trucks across the US highways for over 2 decades now. The road can be long, quiet, and sometimes downright terrifying. This happened one night when I pulled over near a condo complex to catch a quick rest. My sleep schedule's never normal, so around 12:15 a.m., I was still wide awake, sitting in my cab, smoking a cigarette, when something caught my eye. Across from where I was parked, in one of the condos
What is
just
that?
a floor down, a beam of light flickered, like a flashlight sweeping across the room. At first, I thought maybe someone had just dropped something. But then I saw them. 2 figures. One of them walked slowly around the condo, shining that light into every corner like they were searching for something. The other one just sat down in a chair, perfectly still, facing the window. Facing me. My gut twisted. I froze. Part of me wanted to grab my phone, snap a picture, call someone. But another part of me was terrified that if I moved, they'd notice. 2 hours passed. 2 whole hours. The second figure kept moving around the condo. But the one in the chair? He didn't budge. He just sat there, like a shadow, eyes fixed in my direction. By 4 a.m., the flashlight suddenly clicked off. The condo went pitch black, and it was like nothing had ever been there. But I know what I saw. I'll never forget it. The next day, I reported it anonymously to the police. I gave them the address and everything I knew. They said they'd look into it. But here's the thing. Even now, when I'm driving late at night, sometimes I still see that window in my mind. And I can't shake the feeling that whoever or whatever was in that chair is still watching me. Story 2, The Vanishing Hitchhiker. I was hauling down I-70 late one night when I saw a woman standing by the side of the road, waving for help. She looked lost, pale, wearing a torn white dress. Against my better judgment, I slowed down and let her climb in. She barely spoke, just pointed straight ahead. 10 miles later, when I turned to ask her where she was going, the seat was empty. No door opened, no sound. She was gone. Story 3, The Desert Lights Crossing. Through Arizona's desert at 2 a.m., I saw lights hovering above the dunes. At first, I thought it was helicopters or military training, but the lights moved in ways no aircraft should, zigzagging, stopping dead, vanishing, then reappearing right above my rig. My radio went static. My GPS froze. After 10 minutes, the lights shot straight up into the sky and disappeared. Story 4, The Rest Stop Stranger. I pulled into a lonely rest stop in New Mexico. Only one other car was there, a beat-up sedan. A man stood outside it, staring at me the whole time I fueled up and grabbed a coffee. He didn't blink, didn't move. When I got back into my truck and started the engine, I looked in the mirror. The car was gone, but I never heard it start. Story 5. The radio voice. It was 3 a.m. on I-80. I was listening to some static-filled radio when suddenly a voice came through. Ethan, you need to slow down. My blood ran cold. Nobody calls me Ethan except my family, and they sure weren't on CB radio. I slowed down, confused, and 2 minutes later I saw it. A massive deer standing across both lanes. If I hadn't slowed down, I'd be dead. Story 6. The Black Dog Truckers talk about it, but I never believed it. That night, near West Virginia, I saw glowing eyes on the side of the road. A massive black dog trotted out in front of my rig. I swerved, braked hard, heart pounding. But when I stopped and looked, there was nothing. Locals later told me it's a death omen, the black dog that follows doomed drivers. Story 7. The man in the field, Kansas. Flat roads, miles of cornfields. It was midnight, and my headlights swept across a figure standing deep in the rows. Just standing, facing the highway. As I passed, my high beams hit his face. It was painted white, like a mask. He didn't move, didn't chase, just stood watching as I drove off. I never took that route again. Story 8. The Phantom. Convoy hauling freight through Nevada. I saw headlights behind me. 3 trucks, all in formation. They stayed behind me for miles, never passing, never falling back. When I finally pulled to a stop, I waited for them to catch up. But the road behind me was empty. Not a single truck, not a single set of tire tracks. Story 9. The Abandoned Gas Station. I was low on fuel, middle of nowhere in Texas. Suddenly, I spotted an old gas station glowing in the distance. Neon lights, pumps, even a diner sign flashing open. Relieved, I pulled in. But when I stepped out of my cab, the place was rotting, broken, covered in weeds. No lights, no people, just silence. Story 10. The Restless Passengers. Sometimes truckers pick up hitchhikers. I did once, back in Ohio. A young guy, maybe in his 20s, said he needed a ride to the next town. He was quiet the whole way until I glanced at him in the mirror. He was gone. Just gone. Later, at a truck stop, an old-timer told me about a kid who died hitchhiking that exact stretch 30 years ago. Story 11. The Bridge. Walker driving across an old steel bridge in Louisiana around 2 a.m. I saw a man walking in the middle of the span. Long coat, hat pulled low. I slowed down, blinked, and he vanished right in front of my headlights. When I reached the other side, my windshield fogged over, and in the condensation were 2 words written backward. Turn back. Story 12. The Cemetery Route. I had to reroute my delivery through a small town in Mississippi. My GPS led me right past a cemetery. As I drove by, my rig's lights flickered, and I saw dozens of shadowy figures standing between the gravestones, all facing the road. When I looked in my mirrors, they were still there, staring at me, until the cemetery disappeared behind a curve. Story 13. The Disappearing Truck Stop Waitress. One winter night in Wyoming, I stopped at a tiny truck stop diner. A waitress with a warm smile poured me coffee. Talked about how rough the roads were. When I asked for the check, she laughed and said, "On the house. Be safe out there." I left a tip and walked out. Next morning, I told another trucker about it. He frowned and said, "That diner burned down 10 years ago. No one's worked there since." Story 14. The Stalker in the rear view. Hauling freight through the Rockies. I kept seeing a shadow in my side mirror, like someone was sitting on the back step of my trailer. Every time I stopped to check, nothing was there. But whenever I started moving again, I'd see it. Dark, hunched, clinging to the metal. It rode with me for 3 states, then vanished without a trace. Story 15. The Call Box Warning. On a desolate stretch of Nevada highway, I stopped near an old emergency call box. It started ringing. Out of curiosity, I picked it up. A voice whispered, "Don't take this road tonight." My stomach dropped. I left fast, choosing another route. The next morning, I found out there'd been a fatal pileup right where I would have been. If these stories gave you chills, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss the next truck driver tale from America's highways, because I've got plenty more waiting for you. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something strange out on the road? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one of them. Until next time, keep your headlights on, stay safe out there, and remember, you never know what's waiting in the dark.